Well folks, thanks for clicking on the video. So I'm here in the woods, obviously I'm with my dog, I have a few tools with me. I've decided to take down that bark roof shelter. It was more like, it's like an igloo, it's like a wigwam. So you can see what I've done today is I've just built an A-frame. In fact, I've only done one out of the two. So it's taken me a bit of time to source the materials. Well, there's a few materials I've kind of recycled from the old shelter, but I have had to go and find other materials, strip them down to the length, peel the bark off, and then put the A-frame together. Haven't really made that much progress, but I'm quite pleased because I have cleared away the old shelter. That shelter I built, well, probably about 4 years ago with Mike from TA Outdoors. Great shelter. It was cedar bark, so the bark used was cedar bark. Again, in this woodland there's cedar trees everywhere. So what I'm actually building is a raised or an off the ground shelter. I'm building an A-frame, so I'm going to build 2 of these A-frames, just like this. So I'm going to build 2 of these. I'll have roughly one here, and then I'm going to have one about there. And then I'll have a piece going along the top, a piece going along the sides, and then maybe 1 or 2 along the sides as well. This is hopefully going to be an off the ground shelter. I've built lots of shelters in the past, but I've never built an off the ground shelter, and I've thought about it quite often, and I just thought today, you know what, I'll come to the woods and I'll actually build it. So my bed will be along here. So under this, there'll be just hollow, there'll be nothing under there. It will just be just the forest floor, and then my bed here, and then I'm going to build a roof right there to keep me dry. I'm not sure if I should build a little ladder for Amber, so Amber can then climb up and she can lie with me in bed, so I can sort of lie like this, maybe around the fire, and then Amber can lie right there. But we will see in the next episode. But I know you're all asking yourself a big question, and that is, how did he light that fire? Let's just recap. This is called a fire piston. It creates fire by compressing air. You might not have heard about them before. However, if you've been a subscriber for a long time, you've probably seen me use these several times in the past. So if I take these 2 components out, what we have is a barrel and a rod. So this is the barrel and this is the rod. Now, if you look carefully, this rod has got a rubber washer on it. So when I insert this rubber washer or this rod into the barrel, what happens is, because there's a rubber washer, it creates a seal. It traps the air. So when I press it in, it springs back. That's really important because that means that when we rapidly compress it, like I did earlier, we can trap the air. The air becomes trapped at the bottom of the barrel. That rapid trapped air, that rapid compression creates heat. When air is rapidly trapped and compressed, it heats up. So what we did earlier was we put a little bit of material on the end here. We put a little bit of something called charred cloth. In fact, there's still a little bit of charred cloth left. If I just peel a bit out like that. Now, let's do that again. So I've got some charred cloth on the end. And when I trap it down, that charred cloth is going to be in that moment of compressed air. Hopefully, in that moment of heat, the heat will transfer onto my charred cloth, and for this to suddenly start smouldering. It's what we call a fire piston. It's about 2,500 years old. Right, let's do it. So I'm going to place that into there. I'm going to place this onto my knee. Just move the camera down. Here we are, onto my knee. 3, 2, 1. Press it down rapidly. Oh, almost burnt my trousers. And you can see we have a glowing ember. Now, to take that to a flame, we use another piece of charred cloth, transfer it over, just like I did before. Once that piece is glowing, we put that into a bird's nest. Well, not really a bird's nest, that's what we kind of call it. A tinder bundle. So a nice little tinder bundle, dried grass, hay, I even used straw earlier on. Tinder bundle, blow it into a flame. That is fire lighting using a fire piston. So if you're wondering where you can actually buy these fire pistons, well, before I tell you that, let me just show you what these have inside them. So these are the 2 components. You probably saw me earlier on, I unscrewed this cap. There's a screw cap right there. And in there's a bit of charred cloth, and that's the black material that we just used in order to light the fire. There's a bit in there, I can't really get it out, but I'm sure you've seen it all before. Anyway, so I'll put that cap back on. That's basically a storage compartment for your charred cloth, which is the tinder. In the other end, there's a little bit of Vaseline. The Vaseline is very important because, well, because there's a rubber washer, it needs some sort of oil, it needs some sort of lubricant. And that's exactly what the Vaseline is. It's a lubricant, it goes on the washer, so it means it slides in and out smoothly. There's one more thing. If I unscrew this, right here we have a fire steel. And I know you know what a fire steel is, but I'll just show you anyway. So if I grab my knife, I'll take my knife and I've got my fire steel. It's never been used before, this one. So I'll have to scrape it a few times, but what we should see are sparks. Like that. So this is what we call plan B in the fire piston. But what I normally do is I normally stick to plan A, which is the compression, and I use the charred cloth. You can use different materials for tinder, different types of fungus, different types of bark. There's a whole world of tinders you can use out there. But I just like to use a bit of charred cloth because that's what these kits come with. So they come in a little pouch, wherever it is. If you are interested, check out bushcrafttools.com. Again, you know, Christmas presents, whatever. I know it's the Christmas season. I need to do a little plug. So I would appreciate it if anyone is interested, go to bushcrafttools.com and check out the fire pistons. Right, while we're talking about merch, I do also have these fire steels. So these are just giant versions of a fire steel. I mean, they give incredible sparks. You can also get those on the website. You can also buy, you saw me drill those holes earlier. Well, this is what I used. And I just got a bit of hazel and I shaved it down in order for it to fit over the handle. And it's just by twisting it, it's just a hand drill. It's called a Scotch side auger, and these are brilliant. It's what I've just built all that with. Final thing is, well, almost final thing. If you're still watching, I really appreciate it. Final thing is I've got these knives. I've only got about 3 left. They've been very popular over the last couple of years. My own personal knives. These are brilliant. And then, very last thing, I promise not to keep it any longer, wooden cups. And they've got logos underneath, you can see there, bushcrafttools.com. Hey, that's my merch plug. Let's get back to the program. So as for the A-frame, well, I've got one A-frame which is ready to use. And then this one, I've just got another piece of wood here and I'm just peeling off the bark, because the last thing we want is for, well, it's best when you remove the bark because it reduces the rate at which the wood starts to rot. Although I have a lot of these shelters and a lot of them have got bark on them, and to be honest with you, I think, well, first of all, with a wood like cedar, it's quite rot resistant anyway, but I haven't really noticed much rot with the other structures that I've built, so I'm not too worried about it, but I think it would actually look better with the bark off anyway. So I'm going to remove the bark from this, and then this will go, come over here, I'll show you. So this goes right here, right there, and I'll have to drill through it, put some pegs in, and then I think I'll come back tomorrow and continue this build. But you can probably see it's getting really dark. In fact, I've just had to put my exposure right up and it might be a little bit grainy. So, to be honest with you, I'm gonna call it a day. Thanks for watching this very short episode. I'll see you very soon with a bit more progress to this A-frame off the ground raised structure. See you next time. Thanks for watching, goodbye.